By the time the waiter poured the second glass of champagne, I already knew something was off. Jared's leg wouldn't stop bouncing under the table. His eyes kept flicking past my shoulder instead of looking at me. And every time his phone lit up, he flipped it face down so fast you'd think it burned him. We were 8 floors up in uptown Charlotte, on a rooftop with string lights and a skyline people pay good money to photograph. Our 8th anniversary. I had on the black dress he'd begged me to buy, the one he said made me look dangerous. Tonight, apparently, I was the only one in danger. So, I said, swirling the champagne just to give my hands something to do, are you going to at least pretend to be happy you made it 8 years without screwing this up? He gave me that lopsided grin people always called charming. Raina, I'm here, aren't I? I booked the best rooftop in Charlotte. I even put a jacket on. That's commitment. And the phone? I nodded at it between us. What's she saying this time? His smile froze. Who? Don't do that, I said. My voice came out calmer than I felt. You know exactly who. He sighed, picking up the champagne. Marina texted once. She's dealing with some drama. I told you it's nothing. She's not a threat. She's a walking red flag with lip gloss. I finished for him. You swore she was out of our lives, Jared. She is, he insisted. I don't want to be an asshole if she's struggling. I feel bad, okay? You know how she gets. I stared at him. 10 years together, and he still thought I was stupid enough to fall for that tone. The soft, reasonable, I'm just being a good person voice he used whenever he was being anything but. Before I could answer, his phone lit up again. This time, the name flashed for a full second before he snatched it up. Marina. He declined the call, eyes flicking up to see if I'd noticed. Too late. I'm going to the bathroom, I said, pushing back my chair. Rye, come on, don't be like... But I was already walking away, heels clicking on the tile, my lungs tight. I didn't go to the bathroom. I stopped near the bar, just out of his line of sight, pretending to fix my hair in the reflection of a blacked-out window. From there, I watched him. He grabbed the phone, leaned back in his chair, and typed fast, anger pulling his mouth tight. Then he picked up his drink, took a long swallow and exhaled like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. Like he was the victim. I wasn't even angry yet. Not really. I was tired. Tired of Marina. Tired of excuses. Tired of being the reasonable wife while he played confused little boy at 36. I was about to go back, lay it all out in a low, private voice he couldn't squirm away from, when the elevator doors behind me slid open with a chime. She stepped out like she owned the building. Marina Holt. Bodycon dress too tight for something that wasn't a club. Shiny curls, that smug little half-smile she weaponized on men who should have known better. She didn't look shocked to see him. She looked pissed. Of course, I whispered. She scanned the tables until she saw him. Her whole face sharpened. Then she started moving. Past the bar, past the couples, past me. The hostess called after her. Excuse me, ma'am, do you have a reservation? But Marina didn't even slow down. She went straight to our table. I followed. Are you out of your mind? She snapped, loud enough that the couple at the next table stopped mid-bite. You think you can just cut me off and ghost me? Jared's face went white. Marina, what the hell are you doing here? Oh, now you don't know me. She laughed, high and ugly. You knew me when you were in my bed last month. You knew me when you were paying my rent. You knew me every time you said, just give me a little more time, she won't notice. The restaurant quieted around us, like someone had hit mute. Forks stilled, conversations died. All eyes turned to our table, my table. I took the last few steps and stopped beside Marina, close enough to smell her perfume, sweet synthetic strawberries. Keep going, I said. She turned, surprised. You must be Raina. Wife, I corrected. For now. You were saying? Jared shot to his feet. Rye, she's exaggerating, it's not... Marina pulled her phone from her clutch. You told me she already knew about the money, she hissed at him, then looked at me. He said you were separated, That you just hadn't filed yet because of your kid. A ripple went through the room at that. Because of your kid. She tapped her screen and shoved it toward me. Here, let me help you catch up. Messages. Dozens of them. Jared promising he'd transfer the money by Friday. Apologizing when he was late again. Complaining about how dramatic I'd be if I saw the statements. Transfers from our joint account. The one tied to my business. The one my mother left me. Is that our bank? I asked, my voice suddenly flat. Marina blinked. Yeah. He said it was mostly his money, that you don't even check it. For a second, I couldn't feel my hands. Jared reached for me. Babe, listen. I stepped back, and his hand closed on air. You used our account, I said slowly, to pay your ex's rent. He winced. It's not. You're making it sound worse than it is. Oh, I'm sorry, I said, and my laugh cracked. What's the correct wording for financial betrayal? You siphoned our money to fund your side project? Marina shrugged, unapologetic. You think I was going to sleep with him for free? Please, he offered. I just accepted. The slap landed before I'd fully decided to do it. Not on Marina. On Jared. The sound echoed off glass and metal, sharp and clean. His head snapped to the side. Someone at the bar gasped. A waitress froze mid-step, tray trembling. For a heartbeat, nobody moved. My palm stung, but for the first time all night, I felt completely awake. Jared touched his cheek, stared at me in disbelief, like I'd broken some unspoken rule, like I was the one who'd crossed a line. How could you do this? He whispered. That did it. The laugh that burst out of me was ugly and loud and real. How could I? I repeated. You stole from our family to keep your ex in an apartment and me in the dark. And your first question is how I could slap you. A murmur spread. People were definitely recording now. Phones were out, little black rectangles hungry for drama. Marina shifted her weight, suddenly uncomfortable. Okay, this is getting awkward. I just came for my money. You're not getting another cent, I said, turning to her. From him, from me, from anything tied to my name. Consider this your final payment, public exposure. She scoffed. You can't just cut me off. He promised. Yeah, well, I said, picking up my champagne flute. He promised me a lot of things, too. I poured the rest of the champagne into Jared's half-finished glass, watched it overflow onto the white tablecloth, dripping over the edge like a tiny, sparkling disaster. To broken promises, I said quietly, then set my ring on the soaked linen in front of him. It landed with a soft, final sound. He grabbed for it. Raina, don't do this. This is our anniversary. We can fix. No, I said. You don't get to say we anymore. You chose her. You chose lies. You chose my money for her bills. I'm just choosing myself. I could feel everyone staring, waiting to see if I'd cry, scream, collapse. I did none of that. I picked up my purse, straightened my dress, and looked him in the eyes one last time. You're going to regret using my account, Jared, I said, my voice low but steady. You just declared war on the wrong woman. His face crumpled. Rye, please. I turned away, leaving him standing there with his ex, his shame, and a soaked tablecloth. As the elevator doors slid shut and the rooftop disappeared, I felt something settle inside me. Not peace, not yet. Something sharper. I wasn't just leaving my husband. I was walking into a new role. I wasn't his forgiving wife anymore. I was the woman he'd never see coming when I took everything back. I didn't sleep that night. Not a minute. I sat on the living room floor of our house in South Charlotte, still in the black dress from the restaurant, knees pulled to my chest, staring at the wall like it might give me an answer I'd missed. The house was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you realize how much noise a marriage makes, even when it's dying. The anger hadn't hit yet. Just a cold, hollow awareness that something fundamental had snapped, and there was no bending it back. Jared and I met when I was 24. I was the one with the stable job, the steady income, the plan. He was charming, ambitious, figuring things out. I mistook potential for character. Thought love meant investing in someone before they became the person they claimed they wanted to be. For years, I carried both of us while he jumped from job to job, dream to dream, mistake to mistake. When my mother died and left me her consulting business, small but thriving, I used the money from selling her old office to pay off Jared's debt, help him get certifications, push him toward something real. I didn't resent it then. I loved him. I believed we were building something, and for a little while, it looked like we were. He got hired at a growing tech startup, his first decent salary, our first real vacation, a nicer car. I thought those were signs of progress. I didn't see them for what they really were. Signs he finally had something to lose. Our daughter, Camilla, was born 2 years later. 8 pounds of proof that the world still had softness. She looks like me, same curls, same stubborn chin. But she has Jared's eyes. Every time she smiled at him, I convinced myself we were okay, that he was loyal, that the past was behind us. And then Marina resurfaced. He told me they'd ended on bad terms, that she was unstable, unpredictable, the kind of woman who thrives on attention and chaos. At first, it was just a few messages he claimed he couldn't avoid. Old financial paperwork, shared accounts that needed closing, random reminders. I didn't like it, but I swallowed it. I let him convince me it was nothing. Then he started hiding his phone more. Then came the late-night calls from a coworker. Then he started defending her. She's going through a lot. She doesn't have anyone else. She's not the villain you think she is. Every time I raised a boundary, he rolled his eyes and said I was overreacting, that I didn't trust him, that I was being jealous. I wasn't jealous. I was seeing a pattern, the same pattern he swore he'd outgrown. Still, I pushed it aside. For Camilla, for our home, for the version of the man I wanted him to be. Now, sitting on the floor hours after he'd been exposed in front of a room full of strangers, I felt stupid. Stupid for believing him. Stupid for protecting him. Stupid for thinking loyalty meant swallowing my instincts. I pulled out the folders I kept in the hallway cabinet, our tax records, bank statements, business documents. I had always handled the finances, not because he couldn't, but because he never wanted to. The burden of responsibility bored him. As I sifted through the papers, the truth unfolded like a slow, deliberate confession. Transfers to an unknown account, amounts that didn't match any household expense, recurring charges tied to her address, insurance, utilities, a car payment. He wasn't just cheating with her. He was living a second life using my money. A sound slipped out of me, half laugh, half choke. I pressed my hand to my mouth to keep from waking Camilla. She was sleeping upstairs, blissfully unaware that her father had just detonated our family. I heard soft footsteps around dawn. My sister, Anna, let herself in with the spare key. I hadn't called her, but she knew. She always knew. She spotted the documents scattered around me and didn't ask what happened. She just sank to the floor beside me and placed a hand on my shoulder. "Raina," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Those 3 words broke something. I leaned my head against her, tears finally rising, not because I loved Jared, but because I finally admitted the truth I'd been avoiding. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was betrayal. Clear, undeniable, calculated betrayal. Anna pulled back, looked me in the eyes, and said the words that ended any remaining doubt. "I saw him with her last week. I wanted to tell you, but I thought maybe I was wrong. I'm not. You need to leave him." And just like that, the last piece of denial inside me burned out. There was no marriage left to save. Only a life left to reclaim. The moment Anna said, "You need to leave him," something inside me clicked into place like a lock turning. Not rage, not heartbreak, just clarity. A clean, sharp line dividing my life into before and after. I stood up, still in last night's makeup, wiped my face with the back of my hand and said, "Okay, then I'm ending this today." No hesitation, no wavering. I felt strangely steady, almost clinical. It was the first time in years that my decisions didn't have to account for Jared's feelings. I went upstairs, cracked open the bedroom door, and saw Camilla curled on her side, hugging her stuffed fox. Her breathing was soft and even. I pressed a kiss to her forehead and whispered, "We're going to be okay. I promise." Then I grabbed a suitcase, clothes, toothbrush, laptop, birth certificates, my mother's necklace. Everything essential went in one pile. Everything sentimental could wait. I didn't bother packing Jared's things. The thought of touching them made my stomach twist. By 7 a.m., the adrenaline hit. Not panic, purpose. First call, the bank. The representative sounded almost apologetic as she confirmed that yes, large transfers had been flagged. Yes, they were tied to the same woman who had walked into the restaurant last night. And yes, since the primary account holder was me, I had full authority. "Freeze all cards," I said. "Every joint account. Immediately." "Ma'am, that means your husband won't." "I'm aware." Next call, my lawyer. A woman named Healy I'd worked with when handling my mom's business transfer. "I need an emergency consultation today," I told her. "Are you safe?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Just done. Come at noon," she said. "Bring everything." Third call, a local realtor. Not to sell yet, just to evaluate. Jared always claimed half the equity was his too. Healy would dismantle that fantasy soon enough. While I waited for callbacks, I opened our home computer and logged into every joint platform: banking, insurance, mortgage, utilities. My fingers flew across the keys, muscle memory carrying me through years of being the responsible one. I changed passwords, removed his authentication, locked down business accounts he never had any right to access in the first place. By the time he walked through the front door at 10:17 a.m., disheveled and pale, I had already taken back everything he'd stolen. "Raina," he started, voice cracking. I didn't look away from the computer. "Your card declined this morning, I assume?" He flinched. "We need to talk." "We will," I said, shutting the laptop. "In front of my lawyer." His eyes widened like I'd just spoken a foreign language. "Jesus, Rai, come on. It wasn't what you think." "You stole our money," I said, my voice flat. "You funded another woman's life with the account I protected for our daughter. There's no angle you can twist to make that look different." He reached for my arm. I stepped back. "I love you," he tried. "Please don't do this. Don't burn our whole marriage because of one—" "You burned it," I said. "I'm just walking out of the ashes." He swallowed hard, eyes darting around the room like he was suddenly seeing it as something he could lose. And he was. "I'm leaving with Camilla," I said. "The lawyer will contact you." His jaw dropped. "You're serious?" "Very." The first realization hit him then. He wasn't in control anymore. I was. And I was already 3 moves ahead. The fallout started faster than I expected. By the next morning, Jared's world was already unraveling, and he hadn't even grasped the full scope of what I'd done. I hadn't spoken to him after leaving the house with Camilla to stay at Anna's. I didn't need to. The consequences were speaking for me. At 8:12 a.m., my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Unknown. Tell your husband his card bounced. Again. And I'm not covering him anymore. Marina." Apparently, she hadn't taken the news of her financial supply being cut well. A minute later, Anna's doorbell rang and startled me. Aunt Rosa stood outside with 2 bags of groceries, giving me the kind of look only Latina aunties can give, both sympathetic and scalding. "Hija," she said, squeezing me so tightly my ribs clicked. "I saw a video on Facebook. What that desgraciado did." She shook her head. "God will deal with him." I wished God would hurry. While Rosa cooked, I scrolled through my phone and saw messages from mutual friends. Some were pretending to check on me. Others pretended they didn't want to take sides, which is code for, "We're taking his." Fine. Choose the sinking ship. At 9:04 a.m., my lawyer emailed me. "Healy, everything you sent is actionable. Keep all documentation. Do not reply to him directly unless about the child. We file Monday. 2 minutes later, Jared tried calling. Then again. 6 calls, all declined. He finally texted. Jared, please call me. I can explain. Jared, it wasn't like that. Jared, we can fix this. Don't ruin our family over a misunderstanding. Jared, the bank is saying the accounts are frozen. UTF did you do? I put my phone face down and kept eating the omelet Rosa made. Calmly, quietly, like a woman who finally slept through the night. Around noon, his mother called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail dripping with disbelief. Sweetheart, I know my son makes mistakes, but surely this is a conversation, not whatever dramatic action you've taken. You're tearing the family apart. Funny how betrayal never seems to tear families apart. Only reactions to it. By 1 p.m., the real cracks showed. A text from his boss. Boss, is Jared okay? He didn't show up. He said it's a family emergency but wouldn't give details. If this is related to rumors, we need clarity. Oh, so the rumors reached corporate. Good. At 2 p.m., Marina sent another message. Marina, he said you'd understand. He said you knew he was helping me. You're really gonna do him like this? I sent one reply. Me. Lose my number. She didn't text again. At 3 p.m., the first real panic from Jared arrived. Jared, they suspended my company card. Jared, my mom is furious. Jared, my brother said he's not loaning me anything. Jared, what are you telling people? I wasn't telling anyone anything. His behavior was telling the whole story. Anna looked up from the couch. You okay? Better than I thought, I said. At 4:30, a knock sounded at the door. I looked through the peephole and saw Jared on the porch, hair messy, shirt wrinkled, eyes wild like a man who'd run out of options. Anna stepped beside me. Do you want me to tell him to leave? No, I said. I'll handle him. I opened the door but didn't let him inside. He looked me up and down as if expecting tears. Regret. Something soft. Instead, he got my silence. Raina, he breathed. You froze everything. I can't access a single dollar. I can't even pay for gas. This is insane. Actions have consequences, I said. This isn't a consequence. This is punishment. That's what consequences feel like. His jaw flexed. Just talk to me inside. No. We're married. Not for long. For a moment, he looked genuinely afraid. Not of losing me, of losing control. Please, he said, lowering his voice. I'm begging you, don't do this. You already did it, I said. I'm just finishing what you started. Then I closed the door on him, soft and final. He kept knocking. But the era of me opening that door was over. The second public humiliation didn't happen because I planned it. It happened because Jared couldn't accept that the world was moving on without him. A week after I left, Camilla's elementary school hosted their annual spring fundraiser. A big, crowded outdoor event with food trucks, face painting, and every parent pretending their life wasn't falling apart. Anna came with me for support, and Camilla ran off to chase bubbles with her classmates. I finally felt like I could breathe in public again, until I saw Jared moving through the crowd like a man searching for oxygen. He spotted me within seconds. Raina! He shouted, waving his arms as if we were long-lost friends. Heads turned. My stomach tightened. I kept walking, but he jogged to catch up, panting like he wasn't used to effort. Please, he wheezed. Just talk to me. I've been trying for days. Anna stepped between us. She doesn't owe you anything. He ignored her. Raina, I need 5 minutes. Just 5. The crowd was starting to watch. Parents I barely knew were whispering. My lawyer's voice echoed in my mind. Do not give him privacy he hasn't earned. So I stopped, turned, looked him dead in the eyes. You have 1 minute, I said. He blinked, surprised. Okay, good. Listen. All this noise, the rumors, the freezing accounts, it's gone too far. People at work are talking. My boss wants answers. This isn't just affecting me, it's affecting our daughter. The audacity almost made me laugh. You weren't thinking about our daughter when you were paying Marina's bills, I said, loud enough for those nearby to hear. His face twitched. Can we not do this here? You showed up here, I said. You chose the place. Jared swallowed hard. I made a mistake. I admit that. But the online drama, the videos, everyone thinks I'm some monster. Because you acted like one, I said calmly. That's when a mother beside us whispered too loudly, That's him. The one from the rooftop video. Jared's jaw tightened. Raina, please. You're humiliating me. You humiliated yourself, I said. I just stopped covering for you. He stepped closer, lowering his voice, trying to force intimacy. We can fix this. Just tell people it was exaggerated. Tell them Marina lied. Give me something to work with. I stared at him, disbelief turning into something colder. You want me to rescue your reputation? Yes, he whispered harshly, because without it, I'm screwed. Then, like divine timing, Marina appeared near the raffle table, red-faced, messy hair, angry energy radiating off her. She spotted Jared and stormed over. Are you kidding me? She yelled. You said you'd handle her. Now my landlord is threatening eviction because your wife froze everything. Gasps erupted around us. Parents, teachers, even the principal turned to watch. Jared looked like he might faint. Marina, stop. She shoved him. You promised me money, Jared. You told me she knew. You told me she was fine with it. That's when every phone in the area went up, recording, capturing everything. I let the silence stretch, then said clearly, just so it's public record, my husband wasn't helping her. He was financing her, with my money. A wave of murmurs rolled through the crowd. Jared tried to speak, but I lifted my hand and delivered the line that spread across Charlotte by nightfall. You didn't just cheat on me. You bankrolled your mistress with our future, and now you want me to clean up the mess. No. You can drown in it. He froze, humiliated, powerless, surrounded by witnesses. And I walked away without looking back. Jared didn't disappear after the school fundraiser. He did what men like him always do when cornered. He tried to rewrite the story. By Monday morning, he posted a long, rambling Facebook clarification, claiming that the situation at the rooftop restaurant had been blown out of proportion. He called Marina a troubled acquaintance, and me emotionally overwhelmed. The post ended with, "Please respect our family's privacy during this difficult time." It had 2 likes, his mother and a coworker who clearly hadn't seen the video. Because yes, the video was online. Several parents had uploaded it to TikTok and Instagram. A few edits included dramatic zoom-ins, subtitles, and music far too cheerful for marital collapse. Views climbed into the hundreds of thousands. Comments were brutal. She handled that like a queen. Men like him always lie about helping their ex. Girl, take him for everything. By noon, hashtags appeared. Rent-paying Romeo, bankroll boyfriend, rooftop reality check. Jared hated every minute of it. He called me nonstop, 12 missed calls before 2 p.m. I didn't answer. Instead, I forwarded everything to my lawyer. Healy emailed back, "Do not engage. His public statements help us. Screenshots, everything." Meanwhile, Marina wasn't handling the attention any better. She went live on Instagram from her half-empty apartment, ranting about how she didn't ruin any marriage and how Jared led her on. She even cried at one point, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Except the comments roasted her too. Not the victim you think you are. Girl, you took rent money from a married dude. This is embarrassing. Then someone leaked screenshots, actual bank statements showing transfers from our joint account to hers. I hadn't leaked them. I assumed someone at the bank or someone she'd shown for sympathy had. Regardless, it blew up instantly. That was when the PR war truly imploded. Jared's company suspended him pending conduct review. A local gossip page posted a compilation of Marina's live and Jared's rooftop meltdown, calling it Charlotte's Messiest Triangle. Even LinkedIn wasn't safe. Someone made a meme of Jared with the caption, "When HR finds out your mistress has better receipts than you do." He finally sent me one desperate text. "Jared, please, make it stop. Tell people the truth." I typed back one sentence. Me. They already know it. By the time we entered the legal phase, Jared was already limping through life like a man held together with tape. But divorce court didn't care about feelings. It cared about facts, documents, dates, and the long paper trail he had carelessly left behind. Healy met me in her office downtown, a sleek glass building overlooking the city. She spread out the folders I'd brought, bank statements, screenshots, videos, timestamps, as if she were preparing for surgery. "This," she said, tapping the highlighted transfers to Marina, "is marital waste. In North Carolina, that's huge. He used shared resources to benefit a third party. Judges don't like that." "Good," I said. "Neither do I." She smiled without warmth. "We're going after full custody, repayment of all misused funds, and preservation of your business assets. You're walking out of this clean." Meanwhile, Jared was walking into disaster. His company officially suspended him for conduct harmful to workplace reputation. HR sent him a formal letter stating that once the investigation concluded, termination was likely. He tried spinning it as unfair, but when your meltdown becomes a meme, corporate patience evaporates. His mother called me again, this time in tears. "Raina, please reconsider. He's losing everything. This is ruining him." "He ruined himself," I said, "and my priority is my daughter." She didn't like that answer. She hung up with a choked sob and immediately took to Facebook, posting a dramatic paragraph about family values and modern women destroying homes. The comments did not go the way she expected. His brother, though, was different. He texted me privately saying, "I love him, but I'm not enabling him anymore. Do what you need to do." It was the closest thing to support Jared would get. When the temporary custody hearing came, Jared showed up looking exhausted. Dark circles, wrinkled shirt, tie crooked like he'd put it on in the car. Marina wasn't with him. She had disappeared from public view after her online pity party backfired. Judge Harris flipped through the documents slowly, her face unreadable. Jared tried to look confident, but every time she paused on a page, he visibly tensed. At one point, the judge asked, "Mr. Mercer, can you explain the repeated transfers to Ms. Holt?" Jared swallowed. She was in a difficult situation. I was helping her. It wasn't romantic." Healy leaned forward. "Your Honor, we have messages indicating otherwise." Judge Harris raised a brow. "Do you dispute these messages, Mr. Mercer?" He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Silence is confession when your receipts are loud. Temporary full custody was granted to me. The judge ordered him to vacate the marital home within 72 hours and mandated repayment of the misused funds. His face turned a shade of gray I'd never seen before. The hits kept coming. His father called me, not to defend Jared, but to apologize. "I warned him this would happen," he muttered. "I'm done bailing him out. Without family money, without a job, and without access to the accounts I'd secured, Jared moved into a cramped studio apartment on the edge of town. His car was repossessed within the month. His credit card company froze his line after he missed payments. His phone service even got suspended briefly. Meanwhile, Marina fell apart faster. Her landlord evicted her. She posted cryptic quotes about betrayal and fake love before deleting her accounts entirely. Someone claimed they saw her working at a diner off the interstate, but I didn't bother checking. This wasn't about them anymore. It was about reclaiming my life. When we reached the financial settlement meeting, Jared barely spoke. He signed where he was told, eyes down, shoulders slumped. When he realized he was losing the house, he whispered, "Where am I supposed to go?" Healy didn't blink. "That's outside the scope of this negotiation." Afterward, as I stood to leave, Jared looked up at me for the first time that day. Not with anger, not with hope, with quiet, crushing fear. "Raina," he said softly, Is this really the end? I held his gaze, steady and unshaken. It ended the day you chose her over us, I said. Everything after that is just paperwork. And I walked out, leaving him with nothing but the consequences he created. I didn't expect to see Jared again so soon. Not outside of court, not outside of scheduled exchanges for Camilla. But life has a way of circling back at the exact moment you're ready to face what once terrified you. It happened on a gray Saturday morning, 2 weeks after the settlement was finalized. I was leaving a small cafe in Dilworth with Camilla's favorite muffins, the box warm in my hands. I had just stepped onto the sidewalk when I heard someone say my name in a voice I almost didn't recognize. Raina. I froze. Jared stood at the edge of the parking lot, thinner than before, his clothes hanging on him like they belonged to someone else. His eyes were sunken, hair unshaven, shoulders hunched. He looked like a man still falling, still grabbing at air, still pretending he had control over the ground he no longer stood on. I didn't step toward him. I didn't invite him closer. I simply waited. He walked up slowly, almost cautiously, as if afraid I might turn and vanish. "Can we talk?" he asked. "No," I said. "But you can speak. I'll listen." He winced, but nodded. "Okay, fair." A couple walked past us with a stroller, glancing curiously. Jared shoved his hands into his pockets, staring down at the pavement like it could coach him on what to say. "I'm not doing well," he finally said. "I know that's obvious, but I wanted to say it anyway." I said nothing. "I lost my job. I lost the house. I'm living in a place I can barely afford. My mom won't talk to me unless it's to guilt trip me, and my father told me he's embarrassed to share DNA with me." He laughed bitterly. "Can't blame him." He lifted his eyes to mine, blue but faded somehow. "I know I deserve a lot of what's happening," he continued. "Maybe all of it. But the thing that hurts the most is losing you, and losing Camilla." His voice cracked. "She barely speaks to me during the exchanges. She won't even hug me goodbye." A sharp pain moved through my chest, but I held steady. "You hurt her too, Jared. She saw me fall apart." He flinched. "I know. And I'm sorry, Raina. Truly. Not the kind of sorry I used to throw at you to shut you up. I mean it. I wake up every day wishing I could take it back. Wishing I could undo that night at the restaurant. Wishing I could undo her." He didn't say Marina's name, like the word itself was poison. "I don't know who I was," he whispered. "I don't know why I didn't stop. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't come back to destroy me." "You knew," I said. "You didn't care." He swallowed, eyes filling with a kind of grief I hadn't seen before. Grief for himself, not for me. Always for himself. "I miss you," he said. "I miss us. I miss coming home to you, hearing your voice, knowing we were a family. I know I broke that, but I need to tell you, if there's even the smallest chance, even one tiny piece of you that believes we could fix this someday." "There isn't," I said, calm, firm. He inhaled sharply, like the air itself punched him. "Not because I hate you," I added. "Not because I want you to suffer, but because I'm finally living in truth. And the truth is simple. I can't rebuild a life with someone who shattered every foundation under it." A few cars passed behind him. A bird landed on the cafe's awning. The world kept moving, completely indifferent to the moment that had once felt impossible. Jared ran his hands through his hair, pacing a little. "I've been seeing a therapist," he said suddenly, as if that might matter. "Trying to figure out why I did what I did. Trying to understand why I threw everything away." "I hope you keep going," I said. "Not for me, for you." His shoulders tensed. "Doesn't it matter to you at all? That I'm trying?" "Yes," I said honestly. "It matters for the father of my child. It matters for the man who has to rebuild his life from the bottom. But it doesn't matter for us as a couple. That part of my life is over." He exhaled like he'd been punched again. "So that's it. There's nothing I can say that changes anything." "Nothing," I said. He looked around, eyes glossing with desperation. I loved you, Raina. Even when I didn't act like it. Even when I was being an idiot. Even when I lost my mind chasing validation from someone who didn't give a damn about me. You loved me in your way, I said. But it wasn't the way I needed, and it wasn't the way you promised. He stepped closer, voice breaking. If I got another job? If I proved I could change? If I worked on myself? Stop. I raised my hand. You're not petitioning for a second chance. You're bargaining with someone who already walked out the door. A long silence stretched between us. What am I supposed to do now? He whispered. Grow, I said. Heal. Learn. Become the man you pretend to be in public instead of the one you hide in private. And you? He asked, looking at me with a strange softness. What will you do? I shifted the box of muffins in my hands, feeling the weight of my future. Light, possible mine. I'm going to live, I said. Fully, honestly, without carrying the consequences of your choices. He nodded slowly, tears slipping down his cheeks. I really did love you. I looked at him one last time. At the man who had once been my whole world, and was now just a chapter closed with a clean, firm line. And I said softly, really did love who I thought you were. His face crumpled. I stepped back, giving him the gift of distance he never gave me. Then I delivered the final line, the one that ended everything. You taught me how quickly love can die. Now watch how beautifully I live without you. And I walked away, leaving him standing alone on the sidewalk, holding nothing but regret. 6 months after the final confrontation, life didn't just feel different, it felt mine. The first real change came quietly. Not dramatic, not cinematic. Just an ordinary Tuesday morning in early fall when I walked into my mother's old consulting office, a space I'd avoided for years, and realized I didn't feel grief anymore. I felt possibility. The dust that had gathered on her framed certificates and books wasn't a reminder of what I'd lost. It was an invitation to rebuild. So I did. I hired 2 new employees, restructured the service packages, rebranded the entire company, and expanded into project management coaching for women. The response was slow at first, then explosive. Within 3 months, demand doubled. By month 5, I had a waiting list. By month 6, I signed my largest contract to date with a regional marketing firm, and my revenue surpassed what Jared had ever made in his peak year. Success didn't heal me, but it did lift something heavy off my chest. Freedom has a strange sound, quiet, steady, and eerily peaceful after years of chaos. Camilla flourished too. She laughed more, slept through the night again, ate without watching my face to check if I was okay. She drew pictures of mommy and me without a father squeezed into the corner. I didn't correct her. I didn't need to. Jared still had visitation, supervised at first, then gradually unsupervised on short afternoons, once he proved he wasn't unraveling. Each time he picked her up, he looked smaller, not physically, but spiritually, like life had taken a chisel to every illusion he once clung to. After the confrontation outside the cafe, he stopped trying to win me back, stopped trying to rewrite our narrative, stopped posting long, dramatic paragraphs online. He went quiet, almost monk-like, as if solitude had become a teacher he couldn't avoid. Mutual friends said he was working part-time at a logistics warehouse and attending therapy twice a week. They said he rarely talked unless spoken to. They said he regretted everything. Good. Regret meant he finally understood the world didn't exist to absorb his selfishness. Still, I didn't hate him. Hate requires energy, and I wasn't spending another ounce of mine on him. What happened to Jared was simply nature balancing itself. What happened to me was something else entirely. I became someone my past self wouldn't even recognize. Someone sharper, bolder, softer where it mattered, and relentless where it didn't. My boundaries became non-negotiable. My voice got steady. My decisions became decisive instead of delayed until someone else's comfort aligned with them. Anna noticed it first. "You look lighter," she said one evening as we watched Camilla ride her bike in the cul-de-sac. "Like you shed a skin." I think I grew into one, I corrected. And it was true. Every part of me felt new, but not replaced, revealed. As if betrayal had burned away everything that kept me small. The world mirrored that change. New friendships entered my life with ease. Clients approached me with respect. Strangers treated me differently, not because of anything material, but because the energy I carried no longer whispered, "I'll tolerate anything to keep the peace." It said, clearly, "I know my worth." One Friday evening after dropping off Camilla at her art class, I parked at Freedom Park and walked along the lake. The sun was setting, turning the water a soft orange gold. I sat on a bench and breathed in a stillness I had chased for years without realizing it. I didn't think about Jared. I didn't think about Marina. I didn't think about the money he stole or the nights I cried in the dark or the rooftop humiliation that once felt like the end of my life. I thought about beginnings. The beginning I created the moment I walked out of that restaurant. The beginning that grew through court hearings, financial audits, custody battles, PR chaos, and awkward exchange handoffs. The beginning that waited quietly for me to catch up to myself. As the sky dimmed, my phone buzzed with a message from Jared. "Jared, thank you for not giving up on letting me see Camilla. I'm trying to do better for her. I know I'll never earn forgiveness, but I wanted you to know I'm not running from what I did anymore." A year ago, that message would have sent me spiraling, hurt, confusion, nostalgia, grief. Now, it was simply information. I replied, "Me. Good. Keep growing. She needs stability, not apologies." He sent back one word, "Understood." And that was it. No manipulation, no guilt, no performance, just acceptance. I closed my phone and stared at the lake again. A breeze swept across the water, carrying the cool smell of fall. For the first time in a long time, I felt whole. Not because my life was perfect, but because it was peaceful. Because it was mine. Because everything that once broke me became the very soil I rebuilt myself on. As the last light dipped below the horizon, I whispered something. Not to him, not to the past, but to myself. Betrayal didn't end my life. It redirected it. And in that moment, I knew with absolute clarity, I didn't survive what happened. I transformed because of it. Thank you for tuning on Velvet Revenge channel. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss on our new stories coming up. Goodbye.